So I'm doing some last minute layout confirmation of the of all this stuff. The for the centerboard trunk and centerboard. So here you got the pattern for the posts. This is the rear one. This is the front one, and the bed log is under here. And as I discussed somewhere else, if you look carefully at the plans, right in that region right there, you can see that the frame is actually, the notch in the bed log is actually 1 inch deep by 3/4 wide, unlike what it's been reported as. It's just not, it's a rectangular opening and not a square one. One of the problems that comes up with that, because they don't show you in the plans, the problem is that the bed log is very narrow. This little edge here is very slender, like a 1/4, 3/8 of an inch, something like that. And it's only 3/4 of an inch wide, but it is an issue. But anyway, so looking at this, my concern was this dimension here didn't look large enough. But if you take it to back to the drawings, it looks fine. And then if we put on the panel for the pattern for the rudder, that gives you the whole layout, which is one of the benefits of having these cutting out plywood patterns versus just punching holes through the sheet of paper into wood that you're going to cut out. You can do layouts of this in this way. But since I'm finishing this, it's going to be varnished. I'm splitting this steeple pattern, or this cathedral pattern, in the plywood, and this section up here, it's hard to tell through the camera, but this has a real nice, what will be horizontal grain running across here, and then it's going to be somewhat book matched on the other side. We'll see how well this works out. But the issue is, since we've decided to varnish, we have to do something with these end caps, the pieces where you've got plywood at the edge of the plywood exposed. So again, here's the centerboard trunk, and it comes. Then there's a post going down here through the bed log. Bed log is right here. Kind of a difficult thing to say. Here's another post, and there's the top of the centerboard trunk, and then there's another post there. So the edges of these posts, this here, this entire piece here, and then this section here, it will have white oak in the center, and then the edge of 3/4 plywood on either side, and it's just going to look tacky for varnishing. So what I'm planning to do is cut some thin laminates of either the same material that I capped this with and this with, or a piece of white oak, pieces of white oak, since I'll have a bunch of laminates left over from when I resaw the framing stock. There's my cheapo track saw that works like a champ. So this is the top side. The outside, I'm going to go ahead and erase these lines, and then I'm going to put this piece on top of this piece, flip it over, and put the pattern on the back of this piece, and then clamp them together and cut it out. So I'm drawing the pattern on the inside of the planking, and I think you can see the lines there. There it is. There's the top, and I have to finish drawing the curve in the front with another pattern. The point is that line and that line are parallel with the construction baseline. And this line is the top of the bed log, or in the notch in the bed log, and that doesn't have anything to do with anything. It just has to do with a line going across the keel. But this distance changes along this length. Chuck Jenkins was pondering this a while back, and the bottom line is that's why those, again, these two lines are relative to the construction baseline, so they're perpendicular to the frames, because the frames don't go with the water line. They're like 2 degrees off the construction baseline. Go figure. Thank you, Mr. Harrishoff. Anyway, so last thing is I lay this guy in here, and there's that mark there. And I just have enough room. As an example of no amount of planning beats dumb luck, I note how this line just barely gets there. I failed to give enough room. I should have pushed this whole pattern back a little bit, but it's just enough. Per usual, I forgot to take a picture or a video of the original setup. Anyway, so I've cut off the top here. So I never realized that my training as a physical scientist and setting up developing laboratory setups to make measurements or do calibrations for spaceflight instrumentation would have paid such dividends as displayed by this incredible Rube Goldberg setup. I take pictures for, that's not good. I may have to, I got to readjust that. Anyway, you get the point. It's a mess, but I've got to cut a line where I'm cutting the kerf. I'm lining up the kerf, which I don't really have. I don't even know if you can see that here. There we go. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a space in the setup, which I normally would be right up on the line, but I need to adjust that slightly. Anyway, this is the setup to make one simple cut, one 6-inch cut. It's taking me about half an hour or more to figure this out. So I've cut this piece here and that cut there. And I've got to get the handsaw out and cut through on the other side. I'll probably flip it over. Here's the setup for this last straight cut. And there's the finished product. Nice smooth cut. It's beautiful plywood. And this track saw, I did have an issue with the track saw, if I can find it. I guess I readjusted the edge and it taken a new cut, which is kind of a drag. But so here's the setup for the last cut. Gonna come right in, just right on the edge there. I just started, but I decided to stop and take a picture. And I think I can get past everything. And I've got stuff clamped down and clamped together and clamped down again. So hopefully this will be the end of this. And we can move on to making other stuff. I did manage to think to put a clamp on across the seam so this part wouldn't fall on the floor when I finish cutting it. So anyway, it looks fairly nice, but there's a little bump here, some bumps. So it's going to have to be tuned up a little bit. But it's freaking done. I hope it's done well. Anyway, I'll knock this stuff off. And again, this is the inside, so stuff is on the inside, so it doesn't really matter. But since I put a piece of plywood under here, the underside looks great. And then the middle, hopefully, which is the good side, should be just fine. There they are. I laid them out and they're not exactly perfect, but close enough. But here's the book match on the grain. Got a little bit of a darkening here, up there. But hey, it's wood. It's not supposed to be perfect. Perfection's for the gods. And now I got to move to posts and bed logs. I'll make a comment about this Mastercraft track. It's okay, but it's not perfect. And if you're really worried about perfect, I think you have to spend the money on a track saw. If you're going to spend the money on a track saw, get a Milwaukee. TTFN.